My beloved child, would you give me just 1 minute of your time? It will only take a very short moment. I promise you will never regret it. So please, stop right here. Do not rush and do not swipe past this screen. Do not let this moment pass you by as you have done so many times before. I have stepped into your day, into your thoughts, and into the very air you breathe because you need to hear my voice. I want your heart to pause for a moment, your soul to catch its breath, and for you to listen to me. I am not trying to force anything upon you. It is because the very thing you have been praying for is much closer than you think. If you move too fast, if your heart is stolen by something else again, if you push this moment away as you have delayed so many others, you might miss what I have placed right in front of you. So, gently but earnestly, I want to ask you again. Would you give me just 1 minute? Not your entire day, not all of your strength, just a tiny fragment of your time. Just this one moment, this one breath. This small space where the world lets go of its grip on you and you can feel me again is enough. I know how often you have rushed past moments like these. I know the many times you felt me tugging at your heart, only to say later or next time. I know that life has been so noisy, so overwhelming, and so heavy that you ignored the important things you needed to stop and listen to. I know those many moments when you comforted yourself saying you would return, but you never did. But this moment right now is different. Can you feel it too? Something inside of you is softer, quieter, and more open than usual. Something within you is feeling the weight of these words. Your soul recognizes that I am not far away, in a way that words cannot fully explain, but can never be denied. I am right here, approaching you, and reaching out my hand. This moment is not an accident. It did not just happen by chance. Because your heart was drifting much further than you realized, I had to step in before something precious slipped through your fingers. That is why I have aligned this moment with your life. Lately, your life has been so chaotic. Too many thoughts, too many things, too many emotions have been swirling inside you, leaving you no room to even hear the sound of your own breath. The world has been pulling at you from every direction. Without even realizing how much of yourself you were losing in the process, you kept running on empty. You were exhausted, not just physically tired, but eternally weary. You were overwhelmed, not only mentally, but spiritually. You have been carrying burdens you were never meant to bear alone. You have fought a private war in silence, pretending to be okay, pretending to be strong, even though that weight was piercing you deeply, because life was so loud. You missed my gentle voice. You missed my signals and passed by the soft nudges I placed along your path. It is not because you did not care. It is because your burden was too heavy. It is not because you ignored me, but because your heart was too exhausted. It is not because you do not love me, but because you were too busy just trying to survive. I saw all of it. I saw the fatigue in your eyes and the heaviness in your steps. I saw the emotions you tried to hide even from yourself. I saw every piece of you that you suppressed so that no one would worry. That is why I am here now. That is why my voice feels closer than usual. Even if you do not fully understand the reason yet, your heart is responding. Because you have been praying for the deep things, the heavy things, the secret things. The prayers you whispered through tears, the prayers you held your breath for so no one would hear, those prayers you thought were too weak or unworthy to reach the heavens. But every single one of them reached me. Not a single one was missed. I held those prayers in my arms. Even when you felt that no one cared about you, I was listening to those prayers. I held them in my 2 hands and was preparing an answer in a way you cannot yet imagine. And now, one of those answers, one of those breakthroughs, one of those moments you prayed for so desperately, is finally approaching your life. But you must be awake. You must stay fully present in this moment. You must tune your frequency to receive it. That is why I need your attention. Not to control you, but to protect what I am trying to send to you. If you pass by too quickly, if you skim through these words, or if you turn your gaze away whenever something feels too deep or too real, you might miss the very thing you begged me for. So, let me hold on to you for just a moment. I will quiet the world around you. Even if it is just for this moment, I will silence the noise inside you. Let your soul soften for just this 1 minute, for this one breath, so that I can speak to you. I know how many times you have pushed these moments away because you were afraid of feeling too much. I know the many times you did not want to face your own wounds. I know you hesitated because you could not believe that something truly good could happen to you. Those many times you ran away because it felt safer to flee than to hold on to hope. Those times you ignored my whispers, firmly believing that nothing would ever change. When life is heavy, try confessing to me, God is my safe refuge. But my child, I have never once stopped approaching you. I never stopped coming toward you. I reached out my hand constantly. Beyond the walls you built, beyond your fears, beyond your silence, I never stopped loving you. You were looking for peace, but you were walking a path too noisy to notice peace when it arrived. You were looking for direction, but you were lost in the distractions that confused you. You were looking for comfort, but you surrounded yourself with things that numbed you rather than healing you. You were looking for me, but you forgot how to slow down enough to hear my voice. So I came into your moment. I walked into your day. I reached into your space and whispered, would you give me just 1 minute? It will only take a very short moment. I promise you will never regret it. Because within this message there is something soft and healing for you. The very thing you have needed for so long, but that even your heart had forgotten how to ask for. The words you are reading right now are not just text on a screen. This is a moment precisely orchestrated by heaven. It is a moment I placed in your life because your soul is finally ready. Ready to hear my voice. Ready to let something go. And ready to receive what I have been preparing in the unseen places. You might not understand everything yet. You might feel unready. And you might not know what is coming. But trust me, this moment is truly important. All I ask of you is this. Give me your attention. Give me your heart. Give me your purity. Even if it is only for this moment, give me enough time to plant something in you that will transform your life. My child, let me tell you why I had to enter your moment like this. Why I reached out to your day with a pull so sudden it made your heart drop. Why these words found you in the very second your heart was wandering and your spirit was weary. You have been overwhelmed for too long. You were carrying the weight that crushed your soul all alone, in a way you could not even fully admit to yourself. You endured day after day with a heavy burden quietly resting on your shoulders, the heaviness you had to suppress just to live your daily life. The weight you hid behind smiles, behind routines, behind other thoughts, and behind that thin mask of strength that leaves you empty when you are alone. You were trying so hard to hold everything together, even though it felt like a part of your heart was slipping through your fingers, and you were mentally exhausted. Spiritually, you were in silence. Not because you did not believe in me, and not because you did not want me, but because your soul was submerged in the noise of everything you had to handle alone. You were drifting, my child, and you did not even realize it yourself. Drifting does not come with a loud warning siren. It happens quietly, slowly, and very gently. It is a collection of small compromises, of skipped moments, and of ignored tugs at your heart. It happens when life becomes too loud, when emotions become too heavy, and when thoughts become too complex. You did not drift because you were running away from me. You drifted because you spent all your strength just trying to survive rather than living. Because you were exhausted. Because your heart was bruised from taking too many hits. Because you were tired of waiting for someone to realize how heavy the burden you were carrying truly was. And before you knew it, you grew used to the silence around me. But I saw it. I saw your soul growing still. I saw your hope fading away, and I saw the parts of you that once felt alive slowly disconnecting. I saw you slipping into numbness, and I could not let you vanish into that void, so I reached out. You were carrying burdens alone that you could never bear without my help. You tried to handle everything yourself because you did not want to trouble anyone. Even though you felt like you were crumbling inside, you told yourself you were strong enough. You pushed through while ignoring the pain. You moved forward while burying your sadness. And you walked in solitude while pretending not to be lonely. You did not allow yourself to feel things too deeply because you did not want to break. You tightened your heart so much that even joy found it hard to enter because you did not want to be shattered. You carried untreated emotional wounds. You carried fatigue without resting and dragged heartbreak along without it healing. You carried responsibilities alone that weighed down your soul until you forgot how to breathe without pressure. You made yourself numb just to survive. You silenced your own needs for fear of falling behind. You immersed yourself in other things to avoid the aching in your heart. You kept busy so you wouldn't have to think. You kept walking even though your insides were breaking. You told yourself you were fine, even though the truth was that you were sliding into a place where you could no longer fully feel me. You did not reject me. You were simply protecting yourself in the only way you knew how. You did not run away. I watched you quietly struggling to keep your heart from falling into pieces. I know why you closed the doors to your emotions. I know why you shut down parts of your heart and why you stopped expecting much. I know the reasons you told yourself over and over not to feel, not to hope, not to believe, so that you would never be hurt again. You thought that becoming numb would save you from pain, but that numbness was also taking away your ability to receive the blessings coming from me. Here is a brief announcement. Our channel's mission is to bring joy, peace, and devotion to God into your lives. If you wish, you can send support and encouragement through Super Thanks. So, my child, that is why I had to stop you. That is why my voice feels stronger than usual today. That is why this moment comes to you as something heavy, intentional, and unmistakable. You were sinking into a silence that would have prevented you from seeing the answers you have been praying for. You were sinking into an exhaustion that would have caused you to miss everything heaven has prepared. I had to intervene. You were drifting into a numbness that would have made it impossible to recognize the opportunities I placed on your path. At the very moment a breakthrough was approaching, you were sinking deep into emotional survival mode. Because I saw how close your blessing had come, I could not let you move away from it. I had to reach out to your day in a way you could fully feel, in a way that would stop you, and in a way that would pull your weary heart back from the edge. You were just one step away from missing the blessing that has your name written on it. The thing I prepared before you even realized you needed it. The very thing that will restore the pieces of you that you thought would never return. I watched your heart grow too tired to receive what was coming. So, before your strength failed completely, I stepped in. I intervened because you have been walking alone through life with the weight of more than 10 different wars pressing down on you at once. I stepped in because you were living empty while telling the world you were fine. I saw that there was almost no room left in you to feel me. And because I could never allow you to be lost to numbness, fear, and emotional fatigue, I came to find you. My child, I want you to know this for certain. Heaven has set this exact moment for you. Not an hour ago, not tomorrow, not later. This moment, right here, is the time specifically chosen, marked, and planned for your heart. Every second of your life has led you toward this message. The exhausted nights, the quiet tears, the unanswered prayers, the sighs exhaled in the dark, the moments you felt alone, the times you felt no one saw you, and every moment you thought life was hopeless, all of it led you to this moment, this breath, this pause, and this encounter with me. This is not a coincidence. It did not just happen. I meticulously placed this moment in the timetable of your life because your heart needed this. Even if your mind did not know what it was looking for, your soul was searching desperately, and that is why I called you to this place. I prepared this time because you were drowning in responsibilities, noise, pain, and fatigue, and you were only seconds away from falling into the depths of numbness. I orchestrated this moment because the blessings coming into your life require you to wake up internally, to breathe again, to feel again, and to reconnect with me. I prepared this 1 minute because your heart needed to be in the right place to receive what heaven has prepared. My child, come closer now. I am going to speak to the deepest part of you, the place you have learned to hide even from yourself. I want to talk about your pain, the pain you buried, the pain you minimized as if it were nothing, the pain you walked through alone in silence, fearing that no one would help you carry the load. I watched you holding the fragments of your shattered heart with trembling hands, pretending to be fine, pretending to be strong, and pretending not to feel the weight crushing your chest. But I saw everything. I saw the heartbreaking wounds that tore you apart, which you still haven't recovered from. The moments when someone you trusted broke you. The moments when someone you loved left. The moments when you opened your soul only to have it treated carelessly. I know how deeply that scarred you. I saw you trying to move forward while bleeding internally. I saw you trying to keep smiling even though your heart was collapsing behind your eyes. You tell yourself it is all in the past. But the truth is you have been living with the aftershocks of that pain much longer than you admit. You carried that ache in quiet ways, avoiding certain memories, avoiding certain hopes, and avoiding certain dreams, because you were afraid of feeling that pain again. Oh, my child, I watched every moment of that pain. I was standing by your side when you collapsed. I held you when you thought no one knew. I caught your tears before they even hit the ground. I saw your exhaustion, not the kind from lack of sleep, but that deep weariness from fighting too many battles alone. You were tired to the bone, to the edge of your thoughts, to the bottom of your soul, tired of expecting, tired of waiting, and tired of holding on to hope. You grew tired of always having to be the strong one, the unshakable one, the one who keeps everything together, even while your inner self was screaming for a place to rest. You were completely depleted because you tried to pour from an empty cup. You were the one who had to give even when you were in need, and you were the one who had to hold others even when you wanted to be held. I saw all of it. I saw the trembling of your soul and the heaviness of your body. I saw the moments you took another step even when you felt too weak to go on. I saw your disappointments too. The moments when you hoped with all your heart only to taste the bitterness of another door closing. Those times when you allowed yourself to believe things would get better, only for life to twist in the opposite direction. I saw the disappointment in your eyes when someone didn't show up for you, when a promise was broken, when expectations crumbled, and when opportunities slipped through your fingers. I watched as those disappointments piled up inside you, eventually making you afraid to hold on to any hope at all. But my child, I carefully held each and every one of those disappointments. I never mocked your hopes. I never ignored your dreams, and I never looked away from your pain. I saw your loneliness. The loneliness that never goes away, even when you are surrounded by people. The loneliness that whispered in your heart that no one truly sees you. No one fully understands you, and no one stays until the end. I saw the nights you were physically alone, and I saw the nights you were utterly alone, emotionally, even among others. I know how much you longed for someone to understand your heart without you having to explain it. I saw how much you craved that tenderness, that presence, and that comfort of someone looking at you and saying, "I am here." I know how deeply you yearned to be loved in a way that doesn't hurt. Even when you felt like you were invisible, I was looking at you with a love that never wavers. I saw your fears, the fear of the future, the fear that the past would repeat itself, the fear that you might be too much, or the fear that you might not be enough. I saw the fears that made you constantly doubt your decisions, the fears that made you question your own value, and the fear of rejection that made you shrink back. I saw the fear that made you compromise for less than what your heart truly needed, the fear that woke you up in the middle of the night, the fear that made your heart sink and your chest pound. I saw the fear that made you think you were all alone in this world, but you were never alone for a single moment. I was with you every step of the way. I saw your confusion, the moments when nothing made sense, the moments when you couldn't understand why things were turning out this way, the moments when you couldn't see the purpose behind the loss, the delays, the changes, and the silence. I know when you asked, "Why me?" When you wondered what you did wrong, and when you doubted if I had forgotten you. I saw when you felt like you were walking through life blind, having to make choices without clarity, direction, or confidence. I saw you desperately trying to find answers, even when you felt everything inside was tangled. Even when you felt lost, I knew exactly where you were. I saw your emotional numbness too, the moments when you couldn't feel joy, connection, or hope. The moments when you weren't even sad or angry, but just empty. The moments when you felt you had nothing left to give, nothing left to feel, and nothing left to try. The moments when you shut the door to your heart completely because feeling too deeply was unbearably painful. My child, you were not broken. You were just protecting yourself in the only way you knew how. You are not a cold person. You were just hurt and tired of being hurt again. I saw that numbness, but I never once judged you. I did not push you away just because you couldn't feel me. Even when you couldn't sense me at all, I stayed very close, close enough to give you strength. When your heart sounds like a song of praise, I know your soul is worshiping me. I saw every moment you pretended to be okay. The forced smiles, the laughter you used to hide your tears, and the jokes you made to conceal your pain. You became so used to appearing strong that people rarely noticed when you were hurting. Even while you were crumbling inside, you endured steadfastly. Countless times you said, "I'm fine." Not because you really were, but because you didn't want to be a burden to anyone. You didn't want to look weak, and you didn't want to be judged. Every time you hid your emotions, every time you suppressed your voice, And every time you swallowed your tears, I was watching all of it. I saw your silent cries, the tears you shed quietly at night so no one would hear, the moments you buried your face in your pillow to hide the sound, the nights you cried until you were empty, the nights you wept without even knowing why, the nights you cried from the pain that came without warning, the nights you cried while carrying all that weight alone, the nights your heart felt like it would tear apart from holding everything in. I saw every single one of your tears. Not one drop of those tears was in vain, not one drop was ignored, and there was not a single drop that I did not see. I saw the feelings of being forgotten too, the pain that spread through your heart when others weren't there for you, when they didn't ask how you were and didn't notice how hard things were for you. Those times when you looked around and felt there was no one there. The moments you wondered if there was anyone who truly cared. The moments you thought, would anyone even notice if I disappeared? The times you asked why only you had to handle so much alone while others were comforted. My child, you may have felt forgotten by people, but you have never once been forgotten by me. Heaven never ignored any pain you went through. Not a single tear, not a single wound, not a single quiet night, and not a single moment of confusion. Every feeling of loneliness, every cry for help, every prayer whispered in fear, and every breath you struggled for just to keep breathing. I saw everything about you, and I embraced it all. I covered and protected you in ways you could not see. When your heart became too fragile, I guarded it. And when life hit you too harshly, I protected your heart. Even in all those moments when you could not feel me, I walked by your side. When you thought I was far away, when you thought I was silent, I was always closer to you in your moments of pain than in your moments of victory. And now I will speak to you with the gentlest voice your soul needs. I have never once left you. Not for a single second, not for a single heartbeat, and not for a single breath. Even when you were trembling under the weight of your own emotions, I did not leave you. When your heart was breaking, I stood there with you in that wound. When you needed strength you didn't know where to find, I was there with you in that terrible exhaustion, becoming your strength. I gathered the pieces of your hope in moments of disappointment, and I filled your empty spaces with love in moments of loneliness. In fear, I held your trembling heart, and in confusion, I led you slowly, even when you didn't notice my direction. In numbness, when everything seemed empty, I kept your soul alive so it wouldn't die. In every silent cry, I held you when you collapsed. I was there in every moment you thought you were forgotten, my beloved child. Now, I want to speak toward the deep place within you that you have shown to no one. I want to bring out your silent cries and cradle them. The deep longings you buried under the effort to look strong, the fears you didn't dare to speak aloud, your dreams that you wrapped up tightly, fearing they were weak and would break because you couldn't endure another disappointment. I want to talk about the pieces of you that only I have seen. The pieces you hid from the world, even the pieces you tried to protect from yourself. Because these quiet and hidden places are so precious to me. Every word you couldn't say, every emotion you swallowed, and even the longings you thought were too small or impossible. I heard all of them, and not one of them bypassed my heart. I heard the things you never spoke out loud. I heard even the inner thoughts you were ashamed to admit. I heard the fears you carried in silence because you didn't want to worry others or look weak. I heard the trembling questions living deep within you. What if I am not enough? What if I fail again? What if I get hurt again? What if nothing gets better? What if no one stays by my side? What if everything I want slips away from me? You did not put these words out into the world, but I heard these questions whispering in your heart while you struggled to endure. You tried to be strong, you tried to be brave, and you tried to be calm, but there was a storm inside you that you could not quiet alone. And all of those silent fears reached me. Not one of them was turned away. I heard the dreams you buried as well. Not because you didn't want them anymore, but because you were too tired of fighting for things that kept slipping away. I buried the dream of true joy. You buried the dream of true joy because joy felt too fickle to trust. You buried the dream of love because your heart had been broken too many times. You buried the dream of a better future because disappointment had exhausted you. You buried the dream of healing because you felt you couldn't survive another setback. You buried the dream of purpose because you felt lost. You buried the dream of peace because the sound of chaos was louder than hope. You buried the dreams that were once bright and alive, and you persuaded yourself that it was better not to want them anymore. But I saw you burying them with trembling hands. I watched you hide them because the longing was such a great pain. So I have kept those dreams safe for you. They are not dead. They are simply waiting until your heart can handle hope again. I heard all the prayers you whispered while trembling. When your chest tightened, when your hands shook, and when tears blurred your vision, you prayed quietly. With a voice so small you could barely hear it yourself, you prayed, "Please help me." You prayed, "I can't do this alone." You prayed, "Please give me strength." And you prayed, "Please don't let me fall apart." You prayed with a desperation that no one saw. And all those prayers reached my heart like the cry of a child longing for comfort. I did not ignore them. I did not push them aside. I did not wait until you prayed with a louder or stronger voice. Your trembling whispers were enough to move heaven. I was hearing your shaking voice much more clearly than you imagined. I know the heaviness you carry every morning, the weight you feel the moment you open your eyes. I know that pressure that settles on your chest before you even take your first deep breath of the day. I know that sometimes waking up feels like stepping into a battlefield you never volunteered for. When morning comes, the unprepared responsibilities rush back, and the emotions you haven't processed and the questions you haven't answered pour in. I know how hard you try to compose yourself before even getting out of bed. I know you push through the day with a face that hides everything for fear that others won't understand, squeezing out strength you don't even feel. I know the quiet weight that every morning holds, sometimes fear, sometimes sadness, and sometimes even a numbness. From not knowing if today will be kind or if the world will be heavy again. You probably thought no one knew your struggle to survive those mornings.